Like from a provider point of view, when it comes to taking vitamins for COVID prevention, it's a touchy subject, right? Because you can always find research that supports taking vitamins, and you can always find research that negates taking vitamins. Vitamin D3 in particular, what it does is it actually is a big time reducer in inflammation. In theory, right, if you have high levels of D3, then your immune system should function optimally or better, right? So we take it, or we get it usually from things that we eat that have fat in it too, such as fish, right? So fish oil, that fish oil is fat. Vitamin D helps that react inside of the body. But when we start reducing levels of vitamin D, right, if we're not eating fish or if we aren't getting direct sunlight regularly, that's a big player in higher levels of inflammation and then things that happen with those higher levels of inflammation. So things that happen with high levels of inflammation is depression, anxiety, immunosuppressed, like your immune system is more suppressed, inflammatory conditions. So the body works best when it has sufficient levels of these particular vitamins. Now the science is still touchy as to how efficient supplementation is at restoring those levels, right? I mean, you can take vitamin D and that should help improve your inflammatory levels, right? It will drop that excessive inflammation, right? If you have a bad diet on the side, then how much is that vitamin D really going to help you? When it comes down to it, vitamin D isn't really all that expensive to take on a regular basis, and there isn't a high likelihood of like any bad things happening from taking too much vitamin D. You're supposed to take about 1,000 to 4,000 IUs daily. So if you take a vitamin D3 supplement, that's great. I see no ill effect of taking it, but that's why as a provider I have a hard time attaching taking vitamin D with feeling better about not catching COVID. Well, when it comes to the vitamin D too, is that you take the supplement, but you've got to make sure that your body is processing that supplement appropriately. The fact that the sunlight comes and hits us and then we create our own vitamin D is very different than taking an oral supplementation of it. You've got to hope that there's enough fat to help allow you to access the positive aspects of vitamin D. You got to make sure that the stomach digests it appropriately, that parts of it end up getting into there's a lot of like into the intestines. There's a lot of other aspects that have to take place as opposed to the natural release of it through sunlight. I mean, there's a reason why humans that lived in areas that weren't sunny ate a lot of fish. Salmon is a great source of vitamin D3, and they ate a lot of that in the darker times. When I was in school, our biochemistry professor, he speaks around the world about reducing systemic inflammation, and he talks about core four supplements, right? And we found these supplements on Gundry MD, which we have on our Newman Experience page. I take standard process supplements now, and we can go into more of that a little later about why I like standard process at the moment. But the core four all help reduce inflammation, and those are fish oil, vitamin D, magnesium, and then a general multivitamin. Those in conjunction with each other are things that we tend to have at a lower level in our standard American diet, that supplementation is beneficial. And there should be no harmful effects of taking these supplements. I mean, if you take too much magnesium, you may experience diarrhea, but that's really about it. Fish oil was a big one back when I was in school. The EPA and DHA in the fish oil, the two anti-inflammatory players, have studies that are linked to brain function, cognitive function, and then the reduction of inflammation. And then vitamin D has some separate studies that show its ability to reduce inflammation as well. So vitamin D and fish oil, I always associate as going hand in hand, and I take those personally together on a regular basis.